wasn't dreaming. It all really happened. I'm gonna get ready and go to work. Oh, my head. Feels like somebody shoved a steel bar in my brain and then melted it. Gotta make it stop.
And by turning on the radio, you have initiated the greetings! I'm Solidus-Skully, welcoming you back to the Fahrenheit commentary. I don't know why I'm doing this radio-like voice, as I'm introducing the part where Lucas is still freaking out. And still bleeding. He's offing.
That should help my migraine. Notice reads, "Don't take with alcohol."
Yeah, very important and sound advice, so yeah, don't mix alcohol and medication, kids, because otherwise things will go very, very bad very, very quickly. In any case, though, we still have a bit of time. It's now currently the morning, a little bit of time before Lucas has to go to work, and in keeping with typical Shenmue-esque tradition, you pretty much have a walk around somebody's house and screw around, laugh at their furniture, and play on their computer, really. Not that you can really do much on each of the characters' computer. I mean, you can check your emails, surf the web with random various topics like, tee-hee, this was in the 2000s, back when certain high school events were going on. Do video games cause violence in children? Tee-hee hoddle-ha, the Jack Thompson parody from The Path of Neo. What the hell are you boys doing? By the way, I don't know if it's specifically this one, but you can actually find like another little segment which, well... Actually, you know what, I think I might point that out when we get to it, but, well, if we get to it, but in the meantime, though, yeah, let's take a look around at some of Lucas's possessions. It's also here that we learn that his parents died a couple of years back. I think later on in the game we learn it was like around 1999. Not that we ever learn a specific reason for it, I suppose it was, an accident. Well, again, they mentioned that it was an accident, obviously, so, yeah. Part of me does wonder whether or not that was meant to tie into later events in the plot, but yeah, so you're gonna be... Well, you're not really gonna be seeing it, you know, front up. It's really more as we get to the middle and end game of Fahrenheit that things really begin to, well, pile up a little bit. And yes, as we also learned in the diner when, you know, Carla found Lucas's book on Shakespeare. Yes, indeed, apparently Lucas is a well-read young man. It seems to enjoy his work on Nietzsche, because... By God, who doesn't love reading existential philosophy? Well, nobody except miserable people. A phone early in the morning. We ain't got time to listen to that craps. Mainly because you're gonna be seeing the alternate play out of that conversation because, yeah. You might already know the reason, but hey, stay my tongue. But yeah, to kind of tell you who that is Marcus Kane, Lucas's older brother, and yeah, him and his brother have been estranged for a while. Marcus was a priest, well, became a priest actually, and yeah, as a man of God and, well, somebody who's been on a bit of off terms with his brother. You begin to see a bit more of that a little bit later, but needless to say, yeah, Lucas is the kind of guy who keeps to himself, while Marcus, despite the accident and despite everything that's happened in his life, seems to have been able to sort of get on with things, really. But in any case, though, not really too much else to do apart from just sort of have a wander around his apartment. Again, as you can see from his possessions, he's got a television, got a nice collection of music, he plays a guitar, he likes to box, I suppose mainly for the purposes of keeping fit, but, yeah. Lucas is, he's got hobbies, keeps himself occupied, really, and, pretty spacious apartment, but then again, you do, learn, you know, once the segment is complete that Lucas works at the bank, so, don't you worry. The dude is, well, should be fairly well off in terms of cash.
And that's the end of my story. I mixed alcohol and medication and I lost consciousness. Suicide or accident, what's the difference? I'll never know what happened to me in that diner on a cold winter's night. Because in the eyes of the world, I was just a murderer. Hello?
Lucas, it's good to hear from you. I thought I called to find out if maybe you wanted to go to Mom and Dad's tomb together. And to be honest, I thought it might be a good excuse to get back in touch with you.
I need to see you, Marcus. I'm in big trouble.
What are you talking about, Lucas? What happened?
I can't really talk about it on the telephone. It's serious, Marcus.
I'll meet you in half an hour at the park.
See you there.
So, yeah, first things first, that was an example of one of the many game overs are the failure of the game designer aspects from Monsieur David de Grotola, where, yeah, again, if you happen to do things stupidly, like mix pills and alcohol, then you die, but it treats it like the end of the story. Now, again, there's a bit of a difference between, you know, killing yourself by proxy of your stupid actions or as a result of the gameplay, which is, well, pretty much your standard game overs. The non-standard game overs that I mentioned beforehand is, well, as Monsieur Cage had put it at the beginning of the game, the sort of thing where you need to watch for your mental health. So again, if you hit the wreck status, you pretty much get a couple of non-standard game overs. I will point out what a few of them are all throughout the game, although I suppose the first one that I will point out is, well... the first one of which is pretty much where, you know, Lucas commits suicide unable to take, you know, all of what's happened to him. You know, in keeping with your mental health being so low. So, let's improve our state by watching TV.
The body of a man was discovered in the restroom of an East End restaurant. The victim was stabbed several times with a steak knife, while just yards away, other customers were calmly eating their meals. Investigators are already on the trail of a suspect who fled the scene just before the body was discovered. Police have no other comment for the time being, but stay tuned for updates into this.
Stabbed several times with a steak knife. Stabbed several times with a steak knife.
Well, that was a fucking mistake. With a knife. A knife. But yeah, needless to say, there are plenty of actions and small things you can do that'll either boost your mental health, and others that'll completely wreck it. Some of the hallucinations of which Lucas suffers are kind of inevitable, you know, by proxy of the plot, so... Yeah, it's kind of a case where you sort of have to get spooked and, well, pretty much just need to find all the different ways in which you can use to boost your mental health, and, yeah, pretty much up to your discretion. You can't exactly do all of them, you know, with Lucas's forearm still bleeding, obviously. Should probably take... Excuse me, you should probably take care of that, but yeah, he's in no mood to play the guitar or start boxing, obviously. But again, you can, you know, have a drink of water, drink some milk, put on some Theory of a Dead Man. Yes, indeed, this game does have licensed tracks, in keeping with the, you know, mid-2000s era of post-grunge being absolutely everywhere. This probably would have been a little bit more of an effective scene with the crow watching Lucas, much as in the same way that it did, all the way back in the, the diner, really. Truly, the crow is the one that's, dooming everything. But yeah, to sort of get into that, yeah, characters do actually have very specific soundtrack pieces. Somewhat stereotypically, Tyler tends to have a bit more like a, you know, 70s soul and disco funk kind of stuff going on. Carla, you don't really get to see too much of hers, although you will around about her specific character segments, though, but it's neither here nor there in this case. But, yeah, licensed music. Yeah, it's not too bad, I suppose, but, yeah. In any case, so, looking at things related to, you know, Lucas's trauma, his dead parents, you know, the Doc Steiner returning on the television related to that, that's definitely going to take your mental health down a little peg. So, yeah, those are pretty much optional things you can avoid. But, putting that aside, though, yeah, some things like, well, what you're about to see right here, is pretty much unavoidable, because, oh, this has never been done in a horror movie before.
I need to take a shower before I dress my wounds.
Okay, but strange, whatever. Oh my god, it's a face in the mirror? But there is nothing! Although, honestly, it's kind of hard to take that scene in the background seriously when you have Theory of a Dead Man sort of blasting in the background, so, yeah, I guess it would have been more effective before you played the music, but it's sort of like having, like, I don't know, Sadako from the Ring movies just sort of show up and, you know, then having heavy metal music blasting, which, I mean, it's frightening, don't get me wrong, but it's also kind of cool. Oh, and by the way, yes, don't worry about this game. For those of you thinking that it's just, you know, male-gazing service all the way, don't worry, it's all equal opportunity here. What with David Cage being the French man, you see, using French is the language of love. You do not understand French, you do not understand love. So you will have the penis and the boobies and the pussy. So yeah, needless to say, both fan services are represented here. You get to see a bit of a hunky Lucas action, a bit of sexy Carla action, and even Tyler gets to walk about in his boxers, so... whoopee. Truly, we have broken new ground. But yeah, in terms of Lucas's little stereo here, Theory of a Deadman pretty much have 4 tracks to their name, some of which you'll actually be hearing in the game itself, others of which you can pretty much play at your leisure to improve his mental health. But yeah, doing things like fixing up his wounds, taking some medicine and drinking milk and, you know, just doing all sorts of things to do to relax, up to and including washing your hands, taking a piss, is all there to calm him down. So, I mean, yeah, just to sort of avoid having Lucas think about that horrible crime he committed, and just sort of, you know, keeps him just going a wee bit too lally, really.
New York police, please open the door. Hey, what's that? Stay where you are and put your hands in the air.
These images in my head. I must be losing my mind. The clothes that I was wearing last night, they're covered in blood. I better not leave them there.
Ah, precognition. So yeah, this is actually another one of the aspects of Fahrenheit that is going to get into a little bit of a gameplay snafu, well, right here and there. The first of which is obviously Lucas's premonitions. Obviously that one was a bit of a mandatory one to sort of introduce you to the mechanic, but eventually as we start getting towards the, well, for lack of a better phrase, color-coded Simon segments, yeah, some of these prompts you'll miss, and then you'll pretty much end up losing out on hints that you need in the gameplay in order to, well, survive upcoming action sequences, and indeed, well, see hints of means to survive, well, the various things that'll torment Lucas as he walks outside in the bare cold without feeling a fucking thing, really. Yeah, well, wouldn't be the first time, wouldn't be the last time, I suppose, but, yeah, the man has all his windows open in a fucking, like, snowing temperatures like this. Crikey, man. But yeah, either way, the two things that you need to pretty much focus on hiding right then and there is, well, pretty much the bloody clothes you had from last night, and pretty much covering up the bed, because, yeah, as you can no doubt tell, Mr. Police Officer from the New Yorker will pretty much just sort of barge in, have a fucking mosey in his room, and then pretty much go put your hands in the air, and wave them like you just don't care, because you're going to jail. Then again, I don't even really have that much to link Lucas towards the crime scene at this stage, so yeah, a bit of a fickle and tenuous link, I suppose, but whatever. It's an immediate sort of lead into our non-standard game overs, for they are the failure of the game designer. So whatever, really. Another Theory of a Deadman track, and Lucas now in his winter gear, casual clothes, what have you. He's ready to rock and roll. He's pumped up, pumped up. He's ready to rock and roll. Let us move on and enjoy the day. Oh, Shocky Dons, our premonition. It came true.
They've come to arrest me.
But yeah, yeah, if you pretty much ran out of time, you'd be foolish in order to do so. But again, I suppose this is pretty much to give you time to get rid of any evidence beforehand. But, you know, it's neither here nor there in this case. Yeah, either way, it's pretty much there to give you time to get the key, let the police in, and, yeah, this is where the suspicion meter comes into play. But, you didn't hear that from me.
Are you Lucas Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Kane, the neighbors heard yelling from your apartment. Is there a problem?
Oh, yeah, that was me. I cut myself on some broken glass, and I freaked out a little. Fortunately, it wasn't a really big deal.
Would it be all right if I took a little look around your apartment?
Whatever. Go ahead.
What happened to your wrist, sir?
I told you I had a stupid accident with some broken glass.
Holy cow. When you cut yourself, you go all the way, don't you?
That's right, officer. I'm gonna go all the way.
But yeah, I mean, depending on some of the responses you pick, yeah, again, if you decide to deny the fact that, you were screaming early in the morning, what with your hallucinations and your panic attacks and whatnot, yeah, the suspicion meter is raised, and then Mr. Policeman, well, basically starts, searching a bit more thoroughly. But then again, so long as you take care of the bed, you take care of the dirty clothes, and, you're pretty much all good in the hood, so, it seems Lucas is safe for now.
Thank you for your cooperation. Sorry to have bothered you, sir. You know how it is. With everything that's been going on, we prefer to be careful.
I understand.
Go on, Mr. Kane.
Ah, Lucas Kane. Much like Benny Fazio, he is a master criminal. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of everything you have to do there. If you didn't bother to boost up your mental health by checking around his apartment, I suggest you do so now, but yeah, not really too much else left to do now, but just well, pretty much grab your keys and go to work and, well, listen to one last message, which, is where you also learn that Lucas has an ex-girlfriend. How exactly these two broke up, I'm not exactly sure. The game never really details the relationship to any significant degree, so, yeah, that does kind of come into a bit of a ways, and I only really bring that up in the sense that Lucas and Tiffany have a pretty strong bond together, so you never really learn why they split to begin with, but that's stuff we'll get into next time, so let's head to the park before going to work, and on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully, keep it new metal, and next time on Fahrenheit, more shenanigans.